My name is Sylvela. I'm a biotechnologist by profession. Winemaking, fermentation, microbiology, quality in wine, organoleptic evaluation in wine are my expertise. And today I'm going to chat briefly about sorry about that. So today I'm going to chat briefly. Oh, and I'm owner of Sibala Wines. So I've been chatting a lot. Hi Arnold. I've been doing a lot in a couple of live videos, basically with regards to wine and just to educate people about wine, and most especially new beginners to wine and people with no knowledge whatsoever when it comes to wine and related subjects. So basically today I thought, you know what, let's just make this different. Let's just make a U-turn a bit. So today I decided that I'm going to talk about where to begin in terms of like beginning, starting out a career, a job in the wine industry. I must say that the opportunities that you can get within the wine industry depend on they vary from organization to another, because some wine businesses, for example, operate on a small scale, while others operate on a larger scale. So if you did watch my previous video where I was defining the value chain, you will realize that I also mentioned that not all wine businesses basically focus on one business model. Some of them have the capacity to basically be able to do everything, while others have to outsource certain, what we call certain resources throughout their business. And I'm not going to answer these questions right now, because I'm going to be using this very same live video that I'm recording now to share through other platforms. So I'm just going to answer these questions as soon as I'm done with the video. Nah? So I thought, okay, fine, let's just describe briefly how one can go about with establishing a career in wine. And also, let's just also be aware that depending on how much time you have and where you are in life, it will also differ. Well, it also depend on that, and it will differ in terms of where you can land a job and how you can basically land a job in the wine sector. As I've already explained, the wine industry is huge, the wine business is huge, but then where do you begin? Where do you go? How do you begin? How do you establish a career in wine? Well, I'm a biotechnologist by profession, and that is purely how I got into wine. Biotechnology, which is basically the science which is applied to make products using living organisms, or what do we call it? We call it genetic engineering, or was called genetic engineering previously. And how I got to be in wine is that I got to be so interested in wine when I was majoring in fermentation and microbiology during my studies, and I continued further with my studies within wine, and therefore also continued working and establishing my skills and experience within the wine industry. So, and I've therefore managed to be involved in various stages and various departments within the wine industry for over 7 years, and therefore that's how I got to be in the wine industry and be able to establish my business and a career. Well, basically it's a career in wine. So this is what I want to share with you, that within the wine business chain, that there are several career opportunities that we can get, and we can get these career opportunities within wineries. So we can work in a winery, and we can work in the vineyard. We be part of vineyard management, and we can work in retail, whereby, when I speak of retail, I'm referring to any other any other company that works with selling wine. And it can be wine shop, it can be the front house, tasting rooms, it can be online businesses, it can be anything else that is involved in the retail of wine. And then we also have distribution. So distribution is more like retail, but distribution focuses on selling to other businesses that will be reselling. So they don't necessarily sell to directly to consumers, but they sell to other businesses. So in distribution, that's also another place where people can get jobs within the wine sector. So even in distribution, we have local markets, and then we have what we call importing and exporting of wine. So distributors or distribution companies can still import wine, which means that they can buy wine from other countries and bring into our country and sell wines that were produced in other country, or they can take our wines and go sell them in other countries as well. So that's what we call exports, and therefore you can still get a job in a distribution company. We have various big, well-known, reputable distribution companies that have been around for a very long time. So if you're interested in wine, for example, as a career, these are a couple of places where you can work, and you can also work in a restaurant, obviously, or in a hospitality sector. So this will, include your bars. It will include your restaurants, as I've already explained. It will also include working in hotels, working in lodges, working basically anywhere else. And also, I think tourism is part of it. This would be part of tourism, where you can also be a wine advisor in a wine estate or anywhere else. So you can go around showing people around and being a tour guide within the wine space, whereby you're going to be taking people from one estate to another, educating them about South African wines, or showing them around and throughout various wine producers, or exposing them to the culture of wine in South Africa. So these couple of things that I've mentioned is where you can find yourself and establish your career within the wine industry. So with all that being said, there are various different kinds of, job titles that you can find within all these departments in wine, right? So today I thought, let me just start with a winemaker. We all know about winemaking. I think everybody knows of winemaking. In fact, most of us, when we think about wine, the wine business, we only think about winemaking, and a lot of us have no understanding whatsoever with regards to, actually, when we speak of winemaking, what do we even speak about? Who is a winemaker in a wine business? Because remember, there is a wine business and then there is a winemaker. So a winemaker is one of the employees in the wine business. So however, when we're speaking of businesses, because I believe that, so as a winemaker per se, you would be able to make your own wine if you choose, and you will also be able to be hired under a different business, so you can make wine for that particular business. And so a winemaker basically is somebody that is responsible for making judgments and overseeing the overall winemaking process. So basically, supervising and making sure that each step of the winemaking process is done properly, and all the steps are adhered to and eventually done by the cellar workers and any other assistant that is working hand in hand with the winemaker. So you would be the brain and the judge to winemaking, right? So therefore, as a winemaker, like I said, you would have to work for a certain organization, work for a business, or work for yourself and produce your own wine. And for you to be able to be hired as a winemaker, most importantly, I think to remain at an added advantage, you will need a formal education, and various organizations or various universities do offer formal training and education courses. So basically, you can study what we call viticulture and enology, or agriculture and enology. So I know that Elsenburg College, which is based in Cape Town, also offer winemaking courses. I know that CPUT offer winemaking courses as well, and University of Stellenbosch offers winemaking courses as well. And then of course there are many other ways to learn about how to make wine, but just getting a formal education will definitely keep you to make you remain competitive within the job section. But however, if you're not really looking to work for anyone, or you're not really worried about remaining competitive and being able to fight for job opportunities in this business sector, you're more than welcome to educate yourself about how to make wine. Various information and courses are offered online as well. Short courses are also offered throughout the country and even other countries on how to make wine and basically winemaking in general. So some winemakers can be self-taught if you're not looking to compete on the job market, like I said. Also, obviously, it's just like many other things, comes as a skill. yeah, I hope that I've actually shared something that is quite informative. So yeah, and yeah, I think that's all I wanted to speak about. I think I will take it a day. No, that's not what I wanted to do. So what I'm gonna do is I spoke about a winemaker. So this is what, which is one of the jobs that you can have. So let's just focus on working in a winery, right? So in a winery, you will need a director. So that would be like somebody who is appointed as a director to oversee the overall business performance or overall business. I'll be back. Hold on. I'll be back. Okay. I'm back. I'm back. So there will be like a director, and then you also have a winemaker. So depending on how big it is, so a winemaker can also be, yeah. So you need a winemaker or yeah, a winemaker, and then after the winemaker, there will have to be an assistant winemaker. So basically, as an assistant winemaker, you can be groomed, you know, into that position. So not necessarily so strict like a winemaker, whereby you will need, you know, formal training or formal education, but a little bit of formal training would also come to your advantage. So basically, you'll work hand in hand with the winemaker. Your responsibility would be to perform certain duties in the wine cellar. So from from making sure, making additions during the winemaking. Basically working with the other cellar assistants in terms of pressing, bottling, all the other activities that are involved in winemaking. So that's also an interesting thing because you can grow from an assistant winemaker to a winemaker. So you, like I said, you need a formal education, but sometimes you can be groomed into a winemaker position, but then it also adds to an advantage to have a formal qualification, and you can get this formal qualification from any college or an academy that would offer such qualifications or training in regards to winemaking and related skills. So, and then after the winemaker, I think we also have the laboratory staff. So in the laboratory, every winery will need a laboratory team. If not, they also outsource their laboratory, but then these are the opportunities that one can access within the wine industry or the winemaking sector. So basically now, in the laboratory, we have people we can have a laboratory manager, we have a laboratory analyst, or and also lab assistants. So these people are the people that are responsible for making sure that the overall quality of the product during winemaking adheres to certain standards, as quality standards in particular. So they will make sure that they analyze the wine from grape to the final product, and also do quality checks in terms of making sure that the wine meets the relevant quality standards. And therefore, so they work hand in hand with the seller, they work hand in hand with the winemaker per se, and they give instructions in terms of what needs to be added when and how far the fermentation process is, and basically just giving the analytical results and analytical aspect of things and the science to winemaking in general. And so what else? And then basically we also have people that we call wine biotechnologists. So wine biotechnologists are also involved in the winemaking industry. So they are also responsible for doing research and basically coming up with solutions in terms of how we can improve our winemaking techniques, how we can add on to the strategies or the techniques that we're using, and how can we solve the problems that we come across in terms of using microorganisms in particular, because that's what biotechnology is. And therefore wine biotechnology will just be focusing on solving problems or using biological processes to solve these certain problems in the winemaking space. And then you have the people in the cellar. So you will need a cellar master who will also be overseeing the entire process in the cellar, depending on how big the winery is. And you will have cellar assistants who will be doing a couple of physical work in the cellar. So I think that's what, and obviously as a seller assistant, you will definitely need a little bit of information or a little bit of knowledge with regards to winemaking, and then there's also a lot of hygiene practices that are happening in the cellar. So you might actually get, even though you don't have a formal qualification, you might just get, in-sellers training from the winery or from the business in terms of like how to go on about your daily duties. So yeah, I think basically those are the kind of opportunities or the career opportunities that one can establish or one can develop within the wine industry business or the wine business in general. But then remember, today I'm just going to talk about in the winery. So tomorrow I'll speak about how you can establish a career or what job opportunities or career opportunities lie in the wine business. Remember, the wine business is huge. I've spoken about winery, I've spoken about vineyard, I've spoken about distribution, I've spoken about retailing, I've spoken about hospitality and restaurants. So tomorrow I'll take it on further to unpack the job opportunities and career opportunities that we can get our hands on, that we can get involved in, so that we can literally become active role players in the wine industry. So I hope that you found this content rather informative, and if not for you, I know that there are so many people out there, especially young people, people in matric, that have no idea whatsoever what opportunities lie within the wine industry. Some of them don't even know, just like I did when I was still young, and I never knew that you can develop a career within the wine industry. I never knew. All I knew was like, okay, and then eventually I was exposed because I studied in Cape Town and I studied biotechnology, but then also my level of education in terms of wine and understanding of how the industry works began to improve and be improving. What I'm just saying is that there are people out there, even if it's not you, that can benefit from this kind of content. So it'll be very appreciative if you can share this video, share it with anyone else on your platform, share it with anyone in your circle, share it with anyone whatsoever. So because at the end of the day, information and knowledge is power, and not all of us have access to information, not all of us have access to this kind of information, especially for underprivileged communities. I mean, yeah. So basically that's it from me. And also if you're also interested in anything about wine related, even though it's not about drinking and buying my wines, you can also follow the page Siwela Wine Academy. So this is an NPO that we're running. So Siwela Wine Academy is basically it's basically an organization that is giving training and skills development to mostly unskilled and persons who are interested in pursuing a career in wine, or just interested in increasing or expanding or learning about wine. So so yeah, I hope that you guys will continue to have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching. So so thank you. I will answer the questions shortly. Thank you.